Okay. Good morning. It is 8:12 in the morning on Monday.
March 14th.
It's
Man,
the day
we're already
after.
in March.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know. It's the day after the time change. Also, I wanted to wear makeup for this video. I have like a huge zit on my chin. But I have class in a couple hours and we wanted to get coffee, so we just decided to do it now. Anyways, don't talk about it. Anyways. Okay, so something that, since we're going to be a couples channel now, something that I feel like we both kind of thought would be a nice video to make, just to kind of like set the tone of things, I guess, is kind of discussing why we aren't married and why we don't have kids yet, I guess I should say, because those things are going to come eventually in the future. Probably, like not 100% about the kids, but like probably, but we probably are going to get married eventually. But we've been together for, it'll be 6 years in September, so it's been a little bit. And I'm sure a lot of couples who aren't married can relate to this, that the longer you get together, each year passes by, the more people start to ask you more when you're going to do those things.
Right.
And also,
it's just traditional.
Yeah, it's just traditional. Like, also this year, I mean, he has 3 of his siblings are having kids this year, and one, it literally is going to go into labor like any day.
And there's been like marriages like every year.
Yeah, there's been, oh yeah, because there was a wedding last year, there's a wedding this year. Out of his siblings, my siblings is different. Like, I don't know. My siblings is a little different. I guess not really, because my brothers both have kids, and then my sister is married. So we actually...
They're doing there's something.
Yeah, so actually out of
One
both
or the
of our
other.
families, we are the only ones that are not married and or don't have kids. Like his brother, he has a couple of family members that don't have kids, but they are married or they're about to be married.
Good times.
Yeah. We just thought it'd be kind of an interesting video to kind of talk about why we don't want to.
Right now.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah. And why we think waiting is the better option.
Well,
for some
better,
people.
yeah, better option for us.
Yeah.
I guess we could say.
Yeah, for us.
Like, anyone
That's
who
why I said
watches
some
this
people.
video, please don't get offended by what we say, especially if you're in our family and you're watching this video. Don't get offended by what we say. People, like, constantly ask us, like, when we're having kids and when we're getting married, which I just feel like is dumb. Like, don't ever ask someone when they're having kids. Like, please, God, don't do that. But just don't get offended, because this is just everything that we want in life. And, like, we've had so many discussions about when we want to do these things. And we finally, like, I feel like every time we talk about it, we always come to the same conclusion, that we just want to wait.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just better. And to take it back to some people, when... You know, because I never thought about it until your sister pointed it out, like how disrespectful it can be to ask somebody
absolutely.
when they're having kids or why haven't they had kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but a lot of people really, they don't think it through. It's just so traditional that it's just a question, you know, that always pops up in somebody's mind.
Yeah, but I think it's something that should be not so traditional anymore. Like, I think people should really think before they ask someone that. I feel like it's so much different if you're a woman, for one. I do just want to say that. Like, when you're a woman, society basically kind of, from the second that your mother finds out that she's having a daughter, it's kind of, society already paints it in their mind that you're going to be a wife and you're going to be a mother one day. Like, you're going to make babies at some point in your life. And I just want to let anybody know, if you don't want kids, like, there is nothing wrong with that. Literally. I mean, having kids and getting married, especially having kids, is not like a natural progression. It's not like a natural part of life. It's a choice and a decision that you are making. So if you don't want to do that, I think people who don't want kids shouldn't be pressured to have kids. I just feel like that doesn't make sense.
It's just like, just because you're able to go that route doesn't mean you have to go that route.
Yeah. And if you don't want kids, there is nothing selfish about that. I don't understand that opinion on that either. There's nothing selfish about not wanting kids.
Well, honestly, if you really think about it, a lot of our actions are actually based on other people. like we do things in life based on other people's opinions.
Yeah. And for a long time, so like I said, nobody get offended.
Not saying that everyone's getting married and having kids because somebody else is,
Right. But I just know, like, for me personally, like, Logan, so in Logan's family, people generally have kids pretty young, I would say. Like, they usually have kids pretty young. And so I for a really long time struggled with feeling like I was old or I was going to be really old when I had kids. And you should not feel like you're too old to have kids literally at fucking 20 years old. Like, you should not feel that way. We started dating when I was 17. And so I'll never forget, growing up, I was one of those girls. You know how people say, like, you think about your dream wedding and, like, when you're going to have kids. I never, ever thought about that stuff one time growing up. Never, ever. And even then I saw, like, in Disney movies, people getting married, I never just thought about, like, that happening for me. I don't know why, I just didn't. So we started dating when I was 17. His sister is a month older than me. The first time I met her, she had a kid. And I was just like, what the fuck? This girl is my age, and she has a kid in her fucking back seat right there. Like, what? Blew my mind. Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, like until that point, I had never even considered having kids. It was something I never even gave thought to. Then, the more I started dating him, hanging around him and his family, I started thinking, like, wow, like, am I supposed to have a kid soon? Like, is that just what's supposed to happen for me? And
damn, that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and I put so much pressure on myself to thinking about that instead of just focusing on what I wanted to do and, like, my life. So that's just, like, a random side note, but I feel like it is different when you are a woman. I'm finally at a place where I've kind of, like, gotten over that and I've healed for the most part. I do still have triggers that come up every once in a while.
Yeah. That's okay though.
Yeah, but I try to deal with those. But yeah, I would say the main reason that we aren't married yet and don't have kids yet is that we're just so focused on ourselves. Like, me and Logan, really, we both are just so different than I feel like a lot of people that we know. Well,
I think if we would have a kid right now, it would just kind of off balance everything. It would throw everything off track. Everything that we're doing,
Yeah.
It's like it would change our schedules completely. Not that I know that's supposed to happen. In my opinion, I think, and I've seen this play out better for other people that have done the same.
Yeah.
But like I said, not everybody is meant to have kids later if they don't want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I've always believed that in your teenage and in your 20s, all focus should be on yourself. Everything that you do from those years will impact, like, whatever you do will impact your 30s. It's like, I would rather set up a life to where when I'm able, whenever we decide to have kids, I don't have to report to my 9 to 5.
Yeah, that's a main thing for us too. Me and Logan are so big in being entrepreneurs. Like, we want to work for ourselves eventually at some point. We are so big on that. I could see so many people in his family, they're all pregnant now, they're having kids. I'll have those triggers that coming up, and we'll go to a baby shower and I'll be like, oh my gosh, that looks so much fun. And I just want to know what it's like to be pregnant. And, like, then you kind of start to get nervous and you're like, what if I never get to experience that? And all that stuff comes up. But it's just, like, realistically, if I got pregnant right now and we had a child, I would have to go back to work, like, 8, 12 weeks after I had the kid. And I just know that that's not something I want to do.
Right.
Like, me and Logan both, when we have kids, we want to be able to work from home, both of us. So not only we can provide for our kid, but we can also spend time with our kids. There's just so many things that go into it. Like, we want to be where we want to be financially, and we want to be where we want to be career-wise. Like, we have so many things that we want to do before that stuff. And I feel like in society, it's just so planned out that, like, you meet someone, you're together for a couple years, you get married, and then you get married, and then you have kids,
And then you get divorced.
Shut up. He's just playing.
Don't take it personal. I would rather set up a life to where when we start making a family, I want to be able to give more time to my family.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
We don't even, like, that's the thing. It's like when people have kids, it's like they get stuck in the town that they have the kid.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, unless your partner is just as open-minded as you are about wanting to venture out and maybe move to a different place, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what you should be doing when you're younger. I think traveling, trying to figure out where,
yes.
you know.
See, there's so many places
some people,
we haven't been, and we don't even know fully where. We have like an idea of where we want to end up, but we haven't visited around. We haven't explored. We just know that right now we live in the Midwest, and this is not where we want to end up, and like this is not where we want to buy a house. You know, we don't want to do those things here. Having a kid here is only going to delay the process of getting out of here. Right. You know, I just feel like society is so ingrained in us, like I said, that you get married, you have kids, and that's your life. Then you work, and first of all, maternity leave in this country is a fucking joke. I don't understand how. I mean, my mom, and probably your mom too, went back to work when my sister was 6 weeks old. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, see, that's crazy.
I think it's disgusting how women are expected to do that, and dads get 2 weeks. Like, what is that?
It'll change though, because as the generations come, even like the new generation, you know.
Yeah, we ain't putting up with shit.
Exactly.
We didn't like map out this video. We're kind of just talking like as like if we would have a conversation with somebody.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah. But everyone has their own timeline, and I feel like, you know, if you're someone who doesn't want to wait to have kids, then don't wait. But just don't make the people who don't want kids young feel bad about it, because that was something that I really struggled with. I really thought I was going to be made fun of, or people were going to call me old, just because little things that they would say. And I don't think they meant any harm by the things that they said. I don't even think they realized what they were saying and what that was doing, and like mentally fucking me up. Just don't ask people when they're gonna have kids, okay? And don't tell them that if they wait till they're 30, it's too old, because it's not. I feel like age does not matter. If you take care of yourself, if you take care of your body, it really doesn't matter when you have a kid. Like, look at, I would say 90% of celebrities have a kid like from mid 30s to mid 40s. So.
A lot of successful people have kids later.
Yeah, they do. And that's just facts. That's just like,
it's because they're focused on their career while they're young.
Yeah. And it's like you can focus on your career if you had kids, but you can't put as much focus on it.
Yeah.
Because you have children who require tons of attention.
And that's why I said I'd rather, you know, build in my 20s, my teenage in my 20s.
Yep.
That will impact my 30s, you know, have the money to start having a family. It's like when you say, I'm not ready to have a family, and then, you know, somebody always says, you'll never know when you're ready.
Yeah.
You know? But it's like, I think I take it more into depth because it's more mentally, because it's like, well, how are we going to parent? If this happens, let's talk about it. You know?
Me and Logan have had so many in-depth talks about, like, how we want to parent our kids, like, what you know, how we want to raise them. Like, obviously we're gonna raise our kids vegan and stuff like that, but like we literally want to parent the exact same way, and I feel like that's so important. And I feel like a lot of people who have kids don't have those talks, like, because if you're people who parent different ways, that's obviously really confusing for the kid. We have had so many talks about how we want to parent, so it's like when the time actually comes, we've had all those tough talks and like those really deep talks, and I feel like it's really good that we've had those early, so that when the time comes, we're not having to start those over again. You know. And
you know, one other thing is to really focus on you know, it's like whatever challenges that you had as an adult right now, or growing up when you were younger, maybe due to the reason of how you were raised, maybe you switch it, change it, so that then, you know, the kid that you're bringing into the world doesn't have to go through the same thing. Yeah, that's a big thing too, that me and Logan, really this past year and a half to 2 years, really this past year, we have been so invested in just like working on ourselves mentally and like emotionally. I want to make sure I'm good before I have kids, you know? Like, for example, growing up, I was very insecure. I hated myself growing up. I don't ever want to have a daughter or a son who
hates themselves and who thinks that they're ugly, and you know what I mean? I want to make sure that I have done therapy and I've done the work and I am healed as a person from the trauma that I've encountered before I have kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want my kids to have the healed version of their mother and their father. And I know you feel the same way too.
For sure. I used to never think about it that way. I always thought about it like materially.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, no shade. Like not calling out our parents.
Yeah.
Not hating or any type of that. Just noticing and talking about, you know.
Yeah.
That's it. So.
Yeah, no, this isn't anything against our parents. I think our parents just did what they knew, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They had kids because
it's like my
that's
mom,
what they knew.
She had 5 of us
Yeah.
before 25. And so, you know, growing up with that, I mean, yeah, it was challenging for her as a single mom, especially.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, you know, whatever you go through, you're bringing your child through. If it's a new relationship, you know, that will impact them.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a new job that you're doing, it will impact them in some way and form. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
You know, and it's one thing, you know, money isn't everything, but it is important to everything that you do in life.
Yeah. It affects everything that is important in life.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people, they don't look at it as a big deal. They don't, you know, they don't mix the two. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
They separate the idea of having a kid versus the money and the mental challenges that it comes with after the kid's born. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or when they're pregnant.
Yeah.
So it's just like we have really sat down numerous times and just thought into depth about it, because you are changing your life completely forever. So
and like that's
you just want to,
big...
you know, and it's also this world. It can be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So you also have to put that in consideration too. Also, you know, we got together at a young age.
Yeah, we did.
You know,
yeah, we got together really young. It's not like we got together in like our mid-20s.
And unfortunately, we live in a capitalist world.
Yeah.
So money is important, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, it is.
You know, when we first got together, we didn't have a lot of money, so we weren't living on our own.
Mm-mm.
We were still going through school.
Yeah. Like we said, we want to be where we want to be in life. We want to be living in the area we want to live in. We want to, career-wise, be where we want to be. And, you know, when we're where we want to be career-wise, we will be where we want to be financially wise. You know, mentally. The mental part is a big, big factor, too.
Yeah. On how you're going to raise, how you're going to deal with, you know, the kicking and screaming.
Yeah. Like, this is crazy, but me and Logan literally were just talking a few weeks ago because we saw this podcast, and we're like, yo, if our kid's, like, frustrated or something, we just want them to know that, like, they can sit down on a rock and just fucking meditate. Like, what? Like, doesn't that sound so, like, pure and, like, innocent to do with a child? Like, if they're upset, just let them know. Hey, take some deep breaths, meditate, and then we can come back and discuss this later, you know?
And just so you know, it is easier said than done.
Mm-hmm.
Just like anything else. This isn't a video where we're going to talk about how to raise a kid. We're talking about why we're not having kids and why we're not married. So
like I said, we're talking about this like if we were just having a conversation with somebody.
So that's a good question. Let's talk about why are we not married?
We are not married because really, partly we got together really young, like you said. We just lived on our own place the end of 2020. So we knew for a fact we didn't want to get married if we weren't supporting ourselves. For a long time, I actually thought I was somebody that was never going to get married. My parents are divorced. His parents, you don't even remember your parents being together, do you? They've been apart for a long time. And my parents, they divorced when I was 12, and it was just a really, like I said, I'm not trying to make them feel bad, but it was just a really hard time in my life when my parents split up. Just because it uncovered a lot of things that I didn't know, that was going on, and it was a really hard time for me. And then right after that, I literally moved out of the state to a really small town and started a new school. I had no friends, so it was just a really hard time in my life. And it, like I said, it was when I was 12, 13, 14, so like I just fucking started my period. Like, all these things are going on with me. So it was like a really pivotal time in my life. Yeah. I just kind of always said, you know, okay, I'm never gonna get married. And my own, like, my mom even told me, she's like, you know, like, don't get married. Like, my father has told me don't get married. And my sister really kind of put it back in my head, like, basically she was like, don't listen to them. If you want to get married, get married. Like, there's nothing bad about being married. It's just that you need to make sure you're marrying the right person.
Right.
Like, my parents, when they got married, I think they knew they weren't the right people for each other. It kind of sucks. Like, I don't agree with this necessarily, but this is how things are in the world. If you are not married, you are not legally considered family. So it's like, we can be together for 10 years, and if something happens to him, God forbid, and he's in the hospital, I have no rights to see him. Yeah. And that really, really fucks with my head.
Because it's honestly, it's kind of like a license for your relationship.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you buy a house, you have a paper for it. Well, yeah. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. Like, it's and that may be for security purposes, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's also the system. Mm-hmm. You know, you can look at the sunshine side, but there's another side to everything. Yeah. On why it's built the way it is.
So we have it set right now, actually, the year that we want to get married. And it's not for a while, but we just aren't married yet because that's not really where our head's at. Mm-hmm. Like, marriage, we want to have a wedding, I think. Either way, we want to go on a bomb-ass honeymoon. Right. And, you know, right now, what's in our head focused on is getting, like, established. So we want to get our career going. We want to move where we want to move and then do that stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, we want to be, like, more settled. Because right now, we're just renting in a town that we don't like living in. And, you know, I mean, that's the truth.
You know, when we started dating, we didn't know what we wanted. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's just like, that didn't pop into our minds
because...
we
were just kids.
Yeah. And it's like... I don't know. I've just always been different. Yeah. I've always thought different. I never thought the same as what a lot of people that I was around did. Yeah. So.
And it's so funny, you know, this is like so random and off the point of the video, but I think it's so cool how this just like, I'm saying this because it proves like I know that he is the right person for me. Because what are the odds that I would move to a town that's like 2,000 people is the population? Yeah, you should feel sorry for me. I moved to this town and I meet someone like him who is nothing like everybody else in this town. I mean, he's nothing like them. He dresses different. He thinks differently. And I never thought that I would find somebody in this town who was like me. And I did. I really, truly think that we are soulmates. Like, I believe that. I think we met each other in our past life, and I think we'll meet each other again in the next one. Mm-hmm. And it's like, Logan is different. He's very different. And I feel like if you just go, like, see a picture of him and his siblings, I feel like he just sticks out. Because he dresses different. He dresses very different. He has good fashion.
Calm down, you're getting my ego going.
Okay. Anyways, I know that he is the one for me. And, you know, if we're both on the same page, I feel like it doesn't really matter when we get married. And I do think that a lot of times people think I just wait around waiting for him to propose to me, and that's not the case at all. I really don't like that. I feel like people think that way. Because I don't. I really, really don't. Mm-hmm. I love the way our relationship is now. And I know that it really won't change when we get married, but I will have more rights when it comes to serious things.
And, you know, I also, you know, taking it back to everybody has something that they want to do in life. Mm-hmm. It's like, why not try and do that than build a family first? It's like, you got this, like, in my opinion, I would just rather, I just want to try and switch it up. Yeah. I'm going to do something different that everybody around me is not doing. If I don't chase what I'm passionate about, then everything around me will break. Yeah. Because my inner core is going to break. You know what I'm saying?
And we're very big people. Like, we've talked about this a lot. We don't want to be, like, flash forward 50 years sitting out on our porch in the morning wondering, like, what if? You know what I mean?
Right. It's like,
we don't
man,
want to be filled with
what if I was
regret.
doing that in my 20s than this?
Yeah.
It's like
we don't want to grow up and thinking about like regretting that we never chase our dreams.
Because I mean, you can still chase your dreams. Getting married early and having kids, it's just gonna take more time.
Yeah.
It's gonna take more effort from you, more discipline from you. We both want to have kids and we both want to get married.
Yeah, we do. Society, like in conclusion of the video, let me just wrap this up. Society kind of has things laid out for us already from the moment that we're born. And, you know, you don't have to follow what society says. If you do, there's nothing wrong with that. But just don't shit on people who don't, okay?
Right. Because we're not shitting on you.
No.
For choosing what you want to do. Anyways, yeah, just, stick to your time.
Yeah, stick to your timeline.
Yeah.
Like, don't... I really
just because
had
somebody
to
else
learn.
it's just, and even with like just everything in life, just because somebody bought a nice house doesn't mean you have to go buy the same house.
Exactly, yeah.
Just because somebody did something doesn't mean you have to do something. Everybody is on their own timeline. Therefore, stick to it. Whatever's calling your name, go do it. It doesn't matter what it puts anything around you at. You gotta go do it if it's calling your name.
Anyways, we want to get married. We will get married one day, and we probably will have kids one day too. I'm confident that I found my soulmate and a great, great person to have kids with. Like, I know you would be such a good dad. And you think I'll be a good mom, right?
Of course. That's what my eyes were saying when they were looking at you. And if you follow us on this journey, you will see how it lays out.
Yeah. So. Follow our couples channel. But that was just kind of a video we wanted to just get out there in the beginning because I feel like those questions, if people were going to follow us, those questions were coming.
And if you are somebody like us, and you're kind of going, and you are experiencing the same kind of stuff, just know that you're doing a good job. Just keep doing what you're doing.
If you sat through this whole video, thank you for watching. If anybody has any video ideas or requests they want us to do, leave them in the comments, and we will see you guys in our next one. Bye!